Hello, and welcome to the Total Mind Success Podcast. My name is Dominic S. Cause. My guest today is Laura Diaz. She is a transformational coach, and she's going to be talking with us today on how to get self-confidence, or at least more self-confidence. So first of all, Laura, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Dan. I'm pleased to be here.
Well, thank you. Now, first of all, what is a transformational coach?
Well, a transformational coach is someone who works with another person and helps you move from a place that you're at, perhaps having some challenges, in moving to another place that you want to move towards, and, creating some changes. And it's a matter of just transforming oneself into another place that you've had a dream or a desire, but at the same time have some questions if you could move there. So it just transforms your way of looking at life and transforms who you are as a person.
Okay. How did you happen to get into this line of work?
I got into this line of work a couple of years ago. I was working as a team manager for one of the state agencies with the state of California, and I was approaching the time that I could retire from a job, and I wanted to do something else that was calling to me, and I wasn't clear what that was. So what I did is I hired a life coach. And in hiring a life coach, I realized that there was other work that I wanted to do in working with people. And part of it was my own transformation in realizing that there was a different calling that was calling to me, in realizing and being a part of, making a difference for the people, because I've always loved the idea of working with one-on-one with people as a manager or with my close friends and helping them solve problems and helping them reach a place where they could take action. So in working with a life coach, I realized that life coaching was an option that I wanted to take on because I love the challenge of it and I enjoyed the experience. And once I did a little bit more research about the training and the possibilities, I felt at home about it. And I said, I think this is it. And that was confirmed when I started my training as a life coach in 2011.
Well, it's nice to be able to find your calling. A lot of people are still searching for their calling and struggling through jobs they don't like and aren't taking them anywhere. So congratulations on that. So I guess you're a great candidate to help other people do the very same thing.
Yeah, and I noticed a difference in just being in that place that I feel enjoy. I feel that I'm making a difference with the people that I'm working, and that's making a whole lot of difference to my own self. And it's an internal thing that I felt, it's almost a sense of fulfillment that I'm getting more out of it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's talk about self-confidence, because that's what I told people we'd be doing at this time. So let's talk about, first of all, what is self-confidence and why does it really matter?
Well, self-confidence is a place where, the way I describe it, is a place where somebody decides they take ownership for themselves. They take ownership and responsibility for their life and the direction where they're going. And I look at self-confidence as a place where you can say, I have a vision of what life means to me, and I have a vision of what I want to create for myself, and take ownership of that creation and feel alignment within their own self that they have the power to make that choice, and the belief that they can make that choice.
Now, a lot of people struggle with self-confidence. Let's actually go into some of the tips that you have for helping people to build that. Can we do that?
Yes.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of the ways, I'm thinking about the different exercises that I do. There's different strategies that I use in working with people. I do one-to-one coaching, and in that place, I work with them in exploring who they are, where they want to go, and what dreams they have that they have not completed or they want completed. And at that moment, I looked at what is their obstacles in getting there, or what they see as their obstacles. And once I identify, or we identify, because we work as a partnership, once we identify what is causing them not to move towards that place, then I can implement different tips for them. It could be a matter of realizing your vision, because sometimes people don't have a vision for themselves, what they want to create in a year or 5 years, and how to move towards that vision. Because the more somebody sees their vision in writing and starts really looking at that and moving towards that, then they start taking more action and ownership in moving towards that place. Another place that I do is when working with people, I also do groups. And in working with group coaching, not only do I coach the participants, but also the participants share feedback with each other, which helps them move in the direction that they want to go, be it self-confidence about your self-image, something to do with your family, your relationship. Another place that I do in working with self-confidence, I help people have gratitude for themselves, who they are being, who they are as a person, and take some appreciation for themselves. Because many times we lose touch with ourselves and appreciate who we are as a person. And so we go through different exercises on how to appreciate and look at the concept of self-love a little bit. Because when we come from a place of love and well-being, we start being more creative with ourselves and being more expressive, and at the same time embrace ourselves and allow other people to be with us in partnership, be it in a marriage, being in a relationship, or being in a satisfying work environment. So depends on the situation it is. I use different techniques, different tips in working with somebody. But the main one that I use is to promote is to get into a place of self-love and appreciation and come from that place. Because we look into coming from a place of heart and coming from a place of love, and, to manifest and to be in a place of creation, because different doors can open from that place.
Speaking of self-love, how does someone go about developing that? Because a lot of people are, you're taught as a child by well-meaning parents. You hear the word no. They correct you a lot of things of that nature. Sometimes it can affect a child's sense of, inadvertently, the child's sense of self-love, feeling, well, gee, I'm just not good enough. How does somebody develop that self-love?
And that's a good question, Dan. That's a process that may take different avenues. For example, when I'm working with a client, I let them know the distinctions between me as a life coach and the distinctions working with a therapist, when you talk about self-love. Because sometimes there's many pains in the past that are brought to the present that don't allow us to move forward, don't allow us to be in a place of self-love because of what has happened. So when I work with somebody, I let them know that I'm a life coach and a transformational coach, that I work from the present time to the future in helping them move forward. If there's a place in their lives that perhaps they haven't dealt with, some kind of emotional condition that perhaps needs some other kind of help, be it a psychotherapist, then maybe they need to start working with a psychotherapist before they start working with me. And sometimes people will start in that place, and sometimes they've already dealt with some of those issues of not feeling self-love or feeling good enough. But they're in their place that they can take some direction into the future. And if they're in that place where they're willing to take action, then I can start working with them. So if they're in a place of not feeling good enough because they don't have a sense of self-love, then we go through different exercises of appreciating oneself, doing different writing, journal writing, different exercises and writing exercises. Some of them are interactive exercises with me. If it's in a group, it's an interactive exercise within the group where we share certain information. And so it's a process, and then we start creating practices where the person has agreed to create a new practice, create a new habit. Because many times we start identifying some habits that we have grown up with that don't serve us. And these habits are keeping us in a place of not feeling well, having low self-confidence, and not having love for ourselves. So when we identify some of the habits that are keeping us in a place that helps us feel small, then we start looking, how can we make a shift to create new habits that are going to help us move into a place of feeling more good with ourselves, more empowered with ourselves. So then we start writing those and coming into an agreement with the new habit that we're going to create. And I was trying to think of one that I created with a client. I'm not going to name names for confidentiality. And the habit was about speaking with more people, being afraid to speak with people, and just willing to speak and just say hi to people, smile with people. Because when you smile with people, you get more positive responses. And, just doing little practices like that helps people start coming out of their shell a little bit at a time.
Okay. This sounds like a very worthwhile pursuit. What are some of the programs that you developed?
One of the programs that I developed is what I call Becoming Miss Confidence. And this is a program for women where it's a 3-month coaching program, and we focus on different areas of self-confidence in helping the women move forward. It could be in areas of relationships, family dynamics, self-image, self-love, spirituality, to name some of the areas, or work situations, work relations, or just career. And so we look at this program as a way of transforming oneself. And where are we in that place? Are we in a place that we feel good about in that place? Say, relationships. Are we in a place that we are cultivating relationships with other people besides our intimate partner or spouse? So we start moving that. So I have a 3-month program for women, which I call Becoming Miss Confident. And I also have individual coaching that I do with people where we meet on the phone most of the time. Sometimes it's in person. And we talk once a week for about an hour. And we go through different processes and dialogue on what's going on with them and what actions have they taken. And every conversation, we leave a conversation with some actions to take for the next time. And through the progression of the coaching, changes start happening because the more action the person is willing to take and is taking, transformation starts happening. They start noticing different changes within themselves, their mindset, their behavior, how they're feeling. And so that's the process that takes place. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like some good programs here. Tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me through my website at www.inharmonycoaching.com. They can also reach me on my phone, which is 619-316-2600. And they can, call me, and I can have them set up an appointment for a complimentary strategy session to see if I'm the person, that we're fit to work together, and if they have any questions of me or how we can work together.
Okay. I was talking with Laura Diaz. She's giving us some good information on both self-confidence and self-love. So, Laura, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Dan, for having me.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Total Mind Success Podcast. I'm Donick S. Cause. Thank you for listening, and please join us again.